What's up, boys? We're going to talk about WrestleMania 36 and maybe a car that I'll get in my future, and we're going to do that right now. What's up, gassers? It's Chris with Hit the Gas. I think we're going to go for a ride, and you get to ride along. I think we're going to talk about a couple of things today. Today's Monday, the day after WrestleMania. And I was curious what you guys think of that. That's a lot of dirt, boys. We're not going to whip through that. Especially being fresh. Yeah, I was just wondering your thoughts on WrestleMania being the first one in 36 years, being 2 days, but plus being in front of no crowd. But yeah, back to the WrestleMania. First one, 36 years to not have a crowd. And it was 2 days long. 2 days long, I think they just did that just because of not having a crowd. And I think one of the biggest fallbacks of the whole show was the announcers. I think, you know, since I've been doing MMA and boxing shows, like, production goes a long ways. And I think what made a huge difference is me trying to find out where that dinging's coming from in my helmet. Alright, now that we got that taken care of. But like I said, the production quality is probably, it's got to be on the money to make a good show. And not having a crowd sure killed it, because I think the guys played to the crowd, which I know wrestling is scripted, but still there's production value that goes into it. But the thing that I noticed is I could tell, like, even if a match wasn't that exciting, it was made exciting by the announcers. Like, I could tell a huge difference between matches when it was Michael Cole and JBL. And you could tell, you know, when it switched over to the other guys, it's like they were too silent, too long, too much dead space. It's like the guys were just practicing. But when JBL and Michael Cole were up there, it seemed like they kept the action rolling. And I think you more or less hang on their words than what the crowd, like what you can hear with the crowd. Yeah, there's a crowd pop, but if the announcers don't set it up, you just don't get it. I don't think. You know, what's your thoughts down there? Maybe drop it in the comments below. You know, probably, my opinion, one of the worst matches was the Funhouse match with Cena and Fiend. Like, I know you got time to put a production quality together, you know, put something pretty decent of a show, but that was terrible. Like, I had no clue what that was supposed to be about. And if anything, you're probably going to lose fans after seeing that. Especially if it's their first WrestleMania. Yeah, they could probably forgive you for not having the crowd, but when you put something together like that was terrible. Well, the AJ Styles Undertaker match, yeah, the Boneyard match, that was a little bit different. That was actually more of a match. You know, like Falls Count Anywhere almost type of deal. No holds barred. But it was scripted more like a match. Like, I don't know what that Cena thing was supposed to have been about. Like, I don't know if they were trying to say that, like, Cena is trying to fight demons or something. Mental demons. But I thought it was just terrible. And I think they wanted to get Brock Lesnar out of there. I think he's about pushing retirement time. I know the MMA puts a lot of strain on your body. But to have Drew McIntyre win it, I think that was just a big push to let him win that quick. You know, it's almost as bad as the Braun Strowman Goldberg match. Like, I think what was there, a total of like 5-6 moves that whole match, and they're basically all finishers. Yeah, that was a big turnoff too. You know, if you're gonna hype somebody up as your champion, then have somebody walk through them that easily, it makes it feel like it loses the credibility of the championship, in my opinion. I think you still have to tell a story when you are wrestling, pretty much like the Fatal 5-Way match with the ladies. You know, they kind of added some controversy into it, even though, you know, they still had Bayley as the champion. You know, they kind of made it look like she's going to have some problems with her friend coming up tonight, maybe, if they do a Monday Night Raw. As I heard, the word in the street is they were going to start shutting it down after WrestleMania until the virus is done. But hard to say. And if you're wondering why my wrestling seems to be a little off, it's because it's the first one I've pretty much watched in years. I haven't really watched wrestling in maybe 8 or 9 years. Pretty much since Edge left is when I stopped watching it. Right around that time, I would catch it here and there. I never really went out of my way to watch it. It started playing the same thing over and over. I'm tired of watching the same matches. Come up with something new. You know, like a lot of the guys, I had no clue who they were, which is expected for not watching a sport for nine-ish years. Anyway, then they still got some old guys around like Goldberg, Randy Orton, Edge, you know, even Brock Lesnar. I just don't think they build the stories like they used to. Like, I don't think anything's going to touch the Attitude Era. And I think that's pretty much what they need to go back to, is the Attitude Era. And one of my old fighters, Terry Van Avery, he actually turned me on to NWA Power, which I used to watch NWA a lot when I was a kid. And he said, yeah, there you got this NWA Power, but it's on YouTube. They got like 20 episodes right now, which I can probably catch up to because everybody's supposed to be quarantined inside, unless you got a mask on, which I got a mask on. You know, I'm sure that's not what they mean, but hey, I'm not actually going anywhere but just driving around, keeping to myself, not interacting with anybody. But I had some ideas. I'm sure it'd be way harder to do. I know I'm kind of a tech guy, but I know this one would probably be hard to pull off. You know, if you still wanted to bring in a crowd, why don't you use a program like, I think it's Zoom, I think, where you can have multiple webcams on a screen. Well, how about, you know, have a bunch of people on that, and then just put it on like some larger Titantron screens on where the fans would be, so they can see it, and then you can also get the crowd reaction. Then if they register, you probably know who is causing problems in the crowd, because I'm sure you're going to get the guy that's going to show their junk and all that other stuff. But maybe have it on a little delay so you can cut those guys out. I don't know. Just speaking out loud. Kind of why I'm doing this. Yeah, give me your thoughts on what you think about WrestleMania. You know, what could have been changed? What was your favorite matches? How do you think it'll turn out next year? And if you're really an old school wrestling fan, you should go to YouTube and check out Vice's News'. It was a Chris Benoit special, and I can't remember the exact name of it off the top of my head. I'm sure I'll pop it on the screen right here. But that talks about a lot of stuff about Chris Benoit that nobody really talked about. And they got interviews with Chris Jericho, Chavo Guerrero, Vicky Guerrero, Jim Ross. And you get to hear stuff that you've never actually heard before, because pretty much, you know how WWE buried him. And what he did to Nancy and his kid and himself, into like pretty explicit detail on how everything happened, and how pretty much he fell apart after Eddie Guerrero died. But I don't want to ruin too much of it for you, because it's two 45-minute segments, and it's a pretty good watch. I think maybe I'll stroll through this car dealership just to see what they got. I'm not really in the market to get a new car, but I've been thinking about it. Maybe swap out my Ghetto Dart for an SUV or something. I'd kind of like to go old school. Maybe put a system in it like I used to have when I was younger. I used to have some $700 competition Sony deck that was like pretty badass back in the day. It didn't have any preamps or anything, so you pretty much had to have an amp for every speaker, which was kind of expensive, but hey, you know, I thought it was cool back then. They had two Kicker 15 L7s, the Solar Barrack ones. They were square. They actually hit pretty good. I had it was a 13 cubic foot box in a 2000 Cavalier. And you're probably thinking a 13 cubic foot probably wouldn't fit in a Cavalier. Well, you're kind of right. I actually took out the back seat and built the box in two separate sections. And I put the box on the back seat, and it went into the trunk as well, and then I had to bolt the two pieces together to actually hit the 13 cubic feet that it called for what I was doing. Then I had an amp per voice coil, and I had two voice coils on it, or dual voice coils. So let's see what we got here, boys. Hopefully you guys can see this. I don't know if you guys can hear, but I'll shut my mask. I got some Lexuses out here. I just don't think they're as popular as they used to be. Back in the day, you know, everybody talked about having a Lexus. That was like the thing to have. But now I don't really hear too many people talking about them. There you go. We can get a station wagon. Nothing really here grabbed my attention. Maybe we'll roll to the next dealership. You know, sure, I'd take them if they gave them to me, but you know, hey. Oh, there's a prom. We'll go take a swing through Prem's parking lot and check out Prem's bike real quick. We'll just not even stop. We'll just drive past. Make him run outside for no reason. Prem's one of my kids' friend from high school. I think it's this little Ninja. I think it's a 400, but hey, I had a 250. It don't matter. Riding's riding. Yep, he's seen me. Make him think that somebody's stealing his bike. Hope you can tell the difference between a 400 and a 1300, but hey. We'll check the old Dodge dealership here. You know, I wouldn't mind if they sold some old Mopars, like some 60s. See if I got something. I want something that's different than the norm, though, because everybody's got Camaros and Mustangs and Chargers. And I kind of like to look at the Challenger, but it's just too many people have it. I don't like having the same thing as everybody else. Can't help it, I'm weird and different. You know, yeah, you can customize it to make it your own, but I don't know. Now we're in the Chevrolet Buick area, which is right next door to the Dodge and Ford. Yeah, I kind of like the Camaro, but it's like I said, everybody else has one. Everybody's got a Corvette. I think there's like 7 Corvettes on my street alone. And I just live in a subdivision. Yep, I still like my big old bright speedometer there, if you guys can see it. Like I said, well, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but last year I told you guys that I think I had a different sprocket on my motorcycle, so it gives me the speed's a little bit off. Like it tells me that I'm going faster than what I am. Like right now, you know, at a little speed I'm only going 30, but it tells me I'm like going like 33. But once I get up to speed, like if I'm up to 60. I'm actually only going like 50-ish, a little over 50. So I just use this little app to So I just use this app to pretty much kind of keep my speed and a general idea of where I'm at. And I'm sure it's not exact. It probably takes a little bit to update. It's kind of quick, I guess. Well, it's better than nothing, and I still didn't get the Speedo heel, which is gonna fix my speedometer. You know, maybe I'll get that this year if the world is still going on. You know, this whole virus crap. Yeah, another thing, arm wrestling has kind of caught my eye lately. I don't know why. I went out to some arm wrestlers' houses the other day, or not the other day, it was probably months ago now, and he has a bunch of guys that train over his house every weekend, and they're like national champions and stuff like that. They win belts and gorillas, which is what you win for arm wrestling, depending on where you go. But the guys think I'm pretty decent, and I was actually thinking about practicing, and I'd like to win a championship this year. Not really like a championship, like a national or a state championship, but just like a local tournament win. You know, that'd be cool for me anyways. You know, amateur division, maybe win a tournament. I'd be cool with that. Something new. The old lady, the wife, says no, definitely not, because I guess I complain after I arm wrestle because I have tendonitis in my elbows, both of them, and it's kind of rough. It kind of hurts for like weeks upon weeks afterwards. But I did some research, and it's probably because my tendons are weak. Because working out, that'll work your muscles, but you're not really working your ligaments, because that's more or less, you know, your holding power. And there's some guys like Devin Lara, he's actually probably the best in the world in my opinion. And he can wrestle hundreds of guys in a row, no problem. Where, you know, if I do like a couple of guys, I'm like super tired. Not really tired, but my arm is hurting. And it probably, well, it depends. My arm won't hurt until later on in the day once I'm done arm wrestling. You know, once the damage is already done. But yeah, from what I've seen, it's pretty much you got to build up your tendons, but it takes a while to do. But since you're supposed to be doing the social distancing anyways, I got time to train. Used my 3D printer, made a custom hand grip for some of my weight stuff to make it a bigger grip, because having a smaller grip's harder, but when you have a bigger grip, it's actually helps out with arm wrestling. So we're going to test that out for a little while. But yeah, that's one of my goals for 2020. Win a little, not really a participation trophy, but actually win the competition. And we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll do a end of year show or end of year video and discuss stuff like that. See if we did everything that we wanted to do. And maybe you guys should drop something in the comments down below on what you guys want to get done this year. You know, hell, it could be something that's out of the house, but more than likely to be something that's in the house. You know, maybe just start teaching yourself another language or something like that. But you have the time if you're a non-essential worker. So might as well make your time worth it. Maybe start a new business or something. I'm going to concentrate a little bit more on myself this year. Not really, I'll still help people when they need it, but not be focused on helping other people's businesses instead of my own self, if that makes sense. But I talked about the stuff I wanted to talk about. You guys leave a message in the comments, and I guess we'll talk with you guys later. See ya.